Hey everybody, this is Paige from Mosaic Moments, and today I have a tutorial for you of the 4x4 corner die set. So let's go ahead and get started. Before I begin my demonstration, I want to introduce you to the corner die real quick. So this die set comes with 3 different pieces. I'm holding these 2 little triangles here, and there's also the square piece, which the square piece actually has 2 large triangle cuts. Alright, so this larger one here fits the space of a 4x4 square on the grid paper. And as you can see, if you want to use your photographs, a 4x6 size will be too small to fill in that space. So you will need a 5x7 if you want to fill in that entire large triangle area. But we did provide a layering size. So these are the 2 small triangles. They are the layering sizes. So you can fit in those 4x6 photographs. All right. Basically what you need to know is that this large square die, the triangles fit the size of the grid paper measurements, and the 2 triangles are really layering sizes that go above or on top of the large triangles. All right, let's get started with the demo. So the first step I'm going to do is cut with the larger die from the set. So I'm placing my cardstock on top of that, and every sandwich for the die machines are going to be different. I'm using the Sizzix BigKick. So make sure you look at the manufacturer's instructions if you're not sure about what sandwich to put your die in. And in the end, after you roll it through, you should get 2 big triangles like that. And together, when you place them right next to each other, they should fill in the size of 4x4 squares on the grid paper. I just rolled that through again. All right, now I'm going to be using some pattern paper to add some variety to my layout. All right, and this time I want that grain to not be crooked, so I am going to put washi tape on the die, just like I did there. And you may notice, and you'll see this through a lot of our videos, that we place the die in at an angle when we roll it through the die machine. We just find that it puts less pressure into the machine. If you put it straight through, you'll feel that pressure, right? And it's like hard to crank through. We just find putting the die in at an angle cuts the paper or photo, whichever you're doing, much better and much smoother. All right, so I have my last piece of pattern paper here, and again, you should have 2 big triangles. All right, so I have my background pieces done for my layout. Now that all my pieces are cut, I'm going to use my Re-positionable glue. This is the Herma Dotto dispenser, and we're really happy with this particular glue. And of course, you want to take your time as you put that triangle right along the grid lines. I wanted the wood grain look on this top left corner. So you want to take your time, and then I'm going to line up this other triangle, and as you can see, you can't really put this one on first because you wouldn't be able to tell where the grid lines really line up. So you put the side on that lines up again along the grid lines first, and then put the second piece down. And as you can see, together it makes one 4x4 square space. So even though it's triangles, and by the way, there's no gap between these triangles, they are supposed to be right next to each other, so you will not see a gap in between this set. All right, I had to readjust this one, and that's what happens. Sometimes we have to readjust, so take your time. Sometimes it takes a couple of readjustments. I decided that it'd probably be better to use this side, glue this side on first, and as needed, you can add more glue. Mine was kind of just warped a little bit, so I decided to add more glue to make sure it's stuck down to the grid paper better. All right, I'm going to keep going here, and as you can see, I put a little bit of glue in each corner of the triangle and some in the center. And as you see, I did it again on here. I made sure that first triangle was down first because I can tell where it's going to line up on the grid paper, and then I added the second piece. All right. So every time you start with the triangle you think will line up best on the grid paper, and then the second piece will fill in the rest of that 4x4 square space. That my triangle mats are on the grid paper, I'm going to start cutting my photographs. So I have my page here, and you see I have my die on there in a specific direction because I want to make sure my photo is also cut in that direction. So right now the point of the triangle is facing towards the bottom right. And you can also see my subject fits within that triangular space. So it's really important before you get started to make sure your subject fits within that triangular space, and that also fits in the direction you wanted, which is what I did before I got started. I planned my photographs and made sure, for example, this photograph fit into that direction the triangle is going. So it was a great photo to fit in that particular spot. Okay, I'm getting my next photograph ready here. All right, so this die needs to face towards the top right. So I made sure my subject could fit within this particular angle. All right, and you may have noticed when I use portraits or animals even, I try to make sure their entire body pretty much will fit within the die space, because I don't like cutting through people and then they kind of look funny. But that's just my personal preference and just a little design tip for you there. All right, as you can see, the triangle now is facing towards the bottom left, and I put it on top of my photograph, and you can see my subject fits in this space really well. And of course, we want to make sure that the triangle is facing the correct direction. So when you put it on the page, your subject's going, in the right direction and won't be upside down or anything like that. And then you'd have to reprint a new photograph, and we'd want to help you try to avoid that. All right, so this last photograph, my triangle's facing towards the top left. All right, so yes, plan ahead before you start making your page to, again, make sure your photographs are going to fit into the correct space and the correct direction. All right, roll it through my machine, and you may have noticed also I've been using washi tape. Really important when you're cutting photographs to make sure your die does not shift around when you roll it through the machine. All right, now all my photos are cut, so all that's left to do is glue them on top of the larger triangles. Take your time. Basically, you kind of have to eyeball it and make sure the triangular mat going around it looks even all around your photograph. So that's why it's important to take your time, double check to make sure it looks good. Sometimes in a rush and then later it's like slightly crooked or something. So anyway, just take your time. Really easy though. Again, put the glue a little bit on each corner and some in the middle, and then you can take your time as you place it over the mat, and you're all done. Now that my page is complete, as you can see, I placed my photos in such a way that it makes it look like a diamond design. And this is just one of the designs you can create. You can also create an hourglass shape or a big chunky stripe. So that's what makes this die set nice, is you can actually create multiple shapes on your layouts. Anyway, I know a lot of you have been asking for this demo for a while now, so I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And also, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our channel so you can be updated on our future tutorials. We don't want you to miss out. Anyway, I hope you had fun watching today's demo, and I'll see you next time.